I say the thing, I don't know, it was about celebrities that have deformities that you didn't know about. Like you had Megan Fox, she has weird thumbs.
Yeah.
At like half the size it should be. Mark Wahlberg has a torn nipple.
Really?
Yeah. Now it's not very nipple-like. To me it looks more like a mole.
Oh, okay.
Right? Number one, you know, Vanessa Paradis?
Yes.
Right? Have a guess what her deformity is.
Shit singing voice.
Close. Her deformity is she has a gap in her teeth.
Really?
Do you know, like, these were all fucking things. Oh, not everybody notices Megan Fox's thumbs. Not everybody can see Mark Wahlberg's extra nipple. Everybody can see Vanessa Paradis' fucking teeth. You all know she has a gap, and it's not a fucking deformity either.
I don't know, if I was her, I'd kill myself.
So what do you think of the new Spider-Woman fucking cover picture?
Jesus Christ, it's very appropriate to what we're probably going to be talking about today. Like, that is the fucking...
We're going to throw that picture up in the video for the fans at home to get a look at. It's filth, it's pure filth. You can't excuse it. You can't dress this up.
No, not at all. It's ridiculous.
It's...
No, actually, my main issue with it is that, like, I mean, it looks like it was drawn by someone with special needs. I know that's harsh, but that's what it looks like. I
agree, 100%. The background is a very, very poor, I think it might be watercolours.
Possibly.
It's hard to tell, but it's piss poor. In contrast to that, to how poor the drawing skills are in the background, the figure itself is clearly a trace from an actual photograph of a woman getting ready to get hammered from behind.
Yeah,
because
that's exactly what
it's so perfectly outlined. But then they just lose all credibility on the hair. The hair is just like, okay, there's a line for one strand of hair, there's another line for another strand. Hold on.
Exactly. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
She has a tiny, tiny nose and a gigantic mouth.
And her face is... I know she has her head turned at an angle.
Yeah.
But if you look at how far away from her head, how far away from her body her head actually is, it's like the bottom part, which obviously I'm pointing at the screen, but you can't see what I'm pointing at. But like her hand's kind of like this. It's got the webbing, you know, between her side and her arm here.
Yeah.
Right? But then like it comes down. So I mean, her neck is literally like she's like this. She's got a giraffe neck, essentially.
Now, I'm not familiar with the comics, so I don't know if there's giraffe DNA in there. So maybe I shouldn't be the one to criticize this. Anyway,
it is. Comic books are, one of my loves, as we've talked about before. But I mean, they don't really present women in a
realistic.
I don't think they don't really. But I mean, like,
there's no real women. Where's the curves?
Well, Wonder Woman's got curves.
That's true. There's the curves.
But I have to say, one of the few comic books women that's actually portrayed in a good way, I think, is Wonder Woman. I mean, I know she's got her skimpy outfit, she's got the hot pants, whatever. But I mean, she just destroys everyone. She kicks ass. You know what I mean? And who's to say that women can't be sexy while also being class?
Yeah. You know? Who is to say that? And how dare they?
How dare they? So that's atrocious.
Yes.
It's a very. Now, did you notice the other one? It's a bit better. It's on the same side. But if you'll notice, the girl underneath Spider-Woman in the white costume has what can only be described as the words tiniest waist and the largest arse I've ever seen.
I see it. There's a bit of Nicki Minaj there, I think, in the influences. Also, her thighs are pretty thick. They are. Her thick thighs and tiny calves.
Yes.
You would expect some kind of Spider-Woman, I'm assuming she's some sort of Spider-Woman because of all her webbing, to have strong legs.
Fucking man. Sorry, just before we start this, I went to the doctor today. I've had a sore throat and a cough for a month. Basically, he gave me I'm on 9 different pills, cough medicine, and an antibiotic and nasal drops.
Wow.
Because I had a cold which turned into a cough which turned into a chest infection. Which I don't know how that happened because it's fucking roasting out here constantly, but he thinks it's from going from really hot weather to being in air conditioning can fuck you up, and also he thinks the air quality over here isn't as good and my body's still getting used to it because I'm used to the pure air of Belbriggan. That nice clean country air. Yeah, I've got sensitive lungs apparently.
Oh.
What a shit thing. What a shit thing to say about I've got sensitive lungs. Well, actually, I suppose people with asthma have sensitive lungs.
If I had asthma, I wouldn't refer to it as sensitive lungs.
What have you got? Sensitive lung disorder.
I wouldn't refer to it as asthma either. It's such a nerdy fucking element, isn't it? I had asthma.
Asthma. Yeah. But it's only nerdy because it's from the like movies where they have the big glasses that I'm currently wearing, and they've got like the asthma.
Yeah, it's Hollywood's fault.
I blame Revenge of the Nerds. A classic movie.
I remember I had this dentist once working on me when I was about 8 or 9. This dentist, right? I would have been 9. Maybe I was older. Doesn't matter, right? But he's talking away to me, and I can't talk because I've got my fucking mouth full of fingers, like, you know? And he's saying, he's giving me questions I have yes or no answers. And one of the things he says, I'd say you like Revenge of the Nerds. I was like, where did that come from? What are you saying about it? Yeah. And his hot fucking assistant started giggling. And I was like, I felt that fucking small. I'm like, no, I like the Running Man. Give me my so I can watch it.
So yeah, another topic that I wanted to talk about, and this is slightly different. This is actually very different. This is the Madeleine McCann case that's still going on. So Madeleine McCann, as everyone knows who Madeleine McCann is. The little girl who went missing back in, what was it, like 2007? Now, I have a huge problem with this case, okay, and I've had a huge problem with it from the start. The reason I've had this problem is because the only reason that this was made a big deal, in my opinion, was because these people had money and these people were white. I think that it's terrible that they're getting all of this attention for being bad parents, which is essentially what they are. People forget about the fact that it's their fault their child was taken. It's also the fault of the guy who took the child in the first place, okay?
Yeah.
But had they not left their kid in an apartment by herself, okay, or with the other children, surely that wouldn't have happened.
Don't forget to leave out the detail, Matthew, that the kids were drugged.
Were they drugged?
Oh, yeah.
What?
A second ago, right, I was going to say to you, thank God you're on the attack, because for a minute I thought you were going to defend the parents. I wasn't sure where you were going at the start of that statement.
No, I hate those parents.
Because you better believe if this channel was around in 2007, we would have been all over this fucking case, right?
Yes,
From day fucking one, I didn't like those parents. And I've always said they're either A, behind it, or B, if they're not behind it, they're 100% responsible for it.
Yes.
They admitted to drugging their kids so that they'd sleep better, so that they'd have an undisturbed sleep, and so that the parents could have an undisturbed fucking tapas.
Okay.
For them, yeah, they drugged their kids to help them sleep, and then left them alone in an apartment in a foreign country with an unlocked door.
It's so fishy. To me it doesn't make sense. No parent in their right mind would ever do that.
No, a lot of people came out of the woodwork over the last few years saying, "Well, I've done it. And my response to that is, you're also a bad parent. Just because your kid has never been kidnapped doesn't make you any less of a scumbag than the McCanns.
Exactly, yeah. Like, my mom and dad wouldn't, when I was 11, my mom and dad, I mean, I'd say 11 like I'm riding a motorcycle with a beard, having a can. Do you know what I mean? But, like, when I was 11, my parents wouldn't let me stay in the house by myself. Not even if they were just going to the shops, I would have to go with them. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't let my sister take care of me by herself, and she was 14, you know, because they're still young.
Yeah.
We're still young. Do you know what I mean? They left this child in the house by herself. And the fact that this police officer, okay, has suspicions about these parents and is giving his side of the story, that is basically saying, look, this is the evidence that I got. This is the evidence that I feel shows that they had something to do with this child's disappearance, death, whatever it was that happened. Yeah. And they're suing for defamation.
Yeah.
Like, how dare he say we're bad parents? It's like, well, in fairness, you are bad parents.
Yeah, and even if he doesn't really have all the evidence that I've just given you, I've watched a lot of Columbo, right? The first suspect in any fucking case, right? You always look at the family first. Not only because 90% of the time it turns out to be somebody in the family, but also because they're the only suspects you have to go on at the start of a case. You don't have any other suspects. So throw a little bit of a focus on the family. This cop is just doing his job. And he came up with a theory that I've been spouting for the last fucking 8 years, or whatever it is. I'm not doing the maths. I'm not a scientist. Oh, there's Chad Kroger's dick.